Thanks for Evan. I am with Doublelift, the 9-1-7 Twitch that had a pretty good game. I think that was your score as well. Starting from the very start of that game, picks and bans. A lot of junglers banned out, but you guys got the first pick Braum. How did that impact your game?
Well, when we watched the other teams play Braum, we thought that it might get to our head because he didn't look that OP. He looked actually kind of like a normal support. But we know that when Afro's on a support like Braum, he's just going to carry the game. So even though he died at level 1, he was super impactful throughout the game, and we just think Braum is super OP, and it turned out really well for us.
Yeah, well, he was 100% picked today in North America. It wasn't even banned, actually. But specifically going up against Complexity, you guys have had some close-looking games against them, especially some big-time fights early. Do you approach Complexity games a little differently than other teams?
I'm not going to say that we approach it more lightly, but I think we, subconsciously, we make a lot of decisions that we would normally not make in LCS against Cloud9 or TSM. In scrims, it reminds me a lot of scrims where you kind of test the waters a lot more than you would do in a real match. Against Complexity, I think we get a really big lead early always, and then we're just ooh, it's time to test some new stuff out.
Yeah, well, at least you managed to pop up on a few people with Twitch. Looking forward to tomorrow as well. You guys face the new look Evil Geniuses where Helios is now in the jungle. How are you going to be approaching that match?
Well, I've been told that Helios is their new shot caller. From the jungle position, it makes a lot of sense. He's coming from Korea. He's got a lot of competitive experience, 7 OGN seasons. But when I watch their game against LMQ, it seems like he doesn't know how to close out the game. It seems like, with a 7,000 gold lead, any decent team should be able to close out the game, especially against Nidalee Mid, who has no wave clear. But EG just seems to have a lot of problems closing out the game. It happened every single time they play against C9, actually. They have a really hard time with the 10K gold lead. So we're not scared of them at all because we know that even if we fall behind, we can still win.
That's really interesting. Don't take them too lightly, obviously, your opponent. Speaking of guys that come in from Korea, though, Seraph, receiving a fair bit of support and criticism on both sides. What's your opinion on how he's been doing, especially this last game?
Well, first off, I want to say that it's partially our fault as teammates for hyping him up and saying, synergy, he's, Seraph's coming to crush all you guys from Korea. That's really unfair, and it puts an unrealistic expectation on him because he's not a superhuman. He's just a normal player who's come from Korea, and he's having he has troubles here and there with communication and with adapting to the team, just like any player would. And I think he's performed pretty well so far. He's not spectacular carrying games 1-on-5, but he's not the reason why we lose. And when people blame him for our losses, it really gets to him because he's the new guy, and it really gets to his mentality. So it's sad to see the community act that way.
Well, I guess people can only blame you for losses because you are, in fact, superhuman, it says. Anyway, thank you very much for the interview, Doublelift. Congrats on your win. Let's send it back to the guys at the desk.